This is the Jocko Underground Podcast, number 66. Echo Charles with me. Dave Burke also here. Guest appearance. We just got done recording a podcast, so you figured you might as well stay in the seat.
Hang out
a little bit longer. Just stay here long enough to get caught in traffic on the way home.
No fact.
Yeah, that's what you get for moving to Carlsbad. You say you're going to move to San Diego, you move to Carlsbad.
I know.
You got issues. What I want to do is put myself on report today.
Okay.
Put myself on report because I had something take place that normally doesn't happen to me. Normally I'm pretty good, but the fact that this went on for as long as it did, I have to reveal and take ownership of the situation. So I don't want to make it too crazy, but here's the deal. So at our gym, Victory MMA, I have a locker. The instructors, we have lockers. I actually have two of them, top and bottom. So I got one locker thing. They're pretty big lockers. They're not like a little tiny school locker, but it's where I keep all my jiu-jitsu gear, t-shirts, knee pads, shorts, whatever, headgear if you need it, gis, so all this stuff. The top locker is the one I usually use, so I don't have to bend down and get on my knee, super comfort.
Sure, brutal.
But there's some items that you're not using all the time. And so I bought, for my top locker years ago, I bought a little shelving unit from Home Depot, which is 3 minutes from here. It's probably 10 years ago. I bought a little shelving unit for my top locker, maybe 8 years ago. Went, built it. All of a sudden it saves so much space. It's great. About 3 years ago, I bought another shelving unit for my bottom locker. And it sat in the bottom locker, the shelving unit, unassembled. Just sat in the bottom locker for 3 years. And I didn't follow through and carry out actually building this shelving unit for the bottom locker. Just so everything would be squared away and everything would be organized. Just so everything could be squared away and everything could be organized. Which is so nice in life.
Yeah.
So for the past 3 years, I've just had the top one kind of squared away, but not really, because there's stuff that need to be moved to the bottom one, but I didn't because it was kind of cluttered already because I didn't have a shelf in there. Yeah. And I just dealt with it. And it's probably about a 20-minute job. Right? And I knew that in my head because I've done it before. It's going to take me 20 minutes to build out this bottom shelf for my bottom locker. For 3 years, I didn't do it. I could have come in 20 minutes early.
Yeah.
And you know what? It actually would save you about probably 1 to 2 minutes every day because you got to kind of jam stuff in there a little bit to get it locked. The top locker, I'm only using the top one, but now I got to push something back in or something kind of slips out. So it's kind of a pain. Yep. And finally, the other day, I got done rolling at 6 o'clock at night, and I'm getting ready to go home. And my daughter was teaching class, and she's sees me, and she's like, "Hey, Dad, can we roll?" And I go, "Well, I'm heading home." She's like, "Oh, come on, I'm heading." She was heading back to college soon. I said, "Okay, what time are you done with class?" She goes, 6:30. So I have a half an hour to kill.
Sure.
So I'm like, oh, I roll in there, and I just get to it. And I get it done in 18 minutes. And these two lockers became 10 times more squared away. 10 times. Maybe 12 times more squared away.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And every time I've come into the gym since that time, which has now been a month, every time I've come in, I've had a sense of relief and satisfaction.
Yeah.
I didn't do it though.
Why didn't you?
The thing that's weird is I am not a procrastinator, right? I know there's times when I procrastinate. It's I got squat day. Sometimes I'll be stretch for an extra 15 minutes. And I know it's happening. Yeah. And I actually will build that into my schedule a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not a person that goes, oh, maybe not now. I don't really do that. And here's something that I did it for 3 years. Yeah. 3 years of pathetic procrastination to do a task. Part of it was because let's face it, a minute a day, a minute of inconvenience, I just was it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And it's pathetic. My point in saying this is, what is going on in your life that could take a 15, a 20-minute investment, or maybe it's a one-day investment, or maybe, because sometimes that stuff happens too. Yeah. You got something at your house. You're like, hey, if I pull down this fence and install a better gate, I can get in and out of it with the groceries, and it's going to make my life easier forever.
Yeah.
But it's going to take 8 hours for me to pull down this old gate and put up a new one.
Yep.
And you just hold off. It reminds me, unfortunately, in Iraq, like I went to we hit a target in Iraq, and the place we went into was like, this family's house, and it was just all jacked up, and the shit trench was right next to the sink where they prep food.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I lived here, I would start fixing this right now. Yeah. If I moved in there, I would immediately start fixing this. When we would go and take over like a building to go live in Iraq, we would immediately start fixing stuff. Like immediately, like, oh, I can put this over here. I can build a little thing. I can build a desk. I built desks for myself, built beds everyone did this. You just immediately start improving stuff. So here I was for 3 years not improving my situation. And it reminded me that that's common. It can be very common. And it reminded me not to let it happen again. So I wanted to put myself on report in order to free up the brains and lives of everyone.
Yeah. Bro, that's real. I mean, I was about to say, hey, don't be too hard on yourself, but I'm not going to say that because, hey, do what you did. You sound like you solved your little problem there. But it's like, I figured it out. I figured hey, as you could probably imagine, that happens to me all the time. It's very common for me. One was like, you know how like in your kitchen you have cupboards, right?
Yeah.
Some are up top, some are down low. Mm-hmm. Usually down low. Well, in my case, there's like pots and stuff down there, right? So I had this one where kind of, what do you call the hinge was like off, like the screw like came out of the thing. Yeah. Not fully, just how there's two hinges is one top. It was on the top. Mm-hmm. So you could open it a little bit, but if you open it all the way, like the door will like fall all the way off. And you kind of know that, right? But if all you got to do is open it and just sort of hold it there. You see what I'm saying? As you grab the pots and stuff, you close it, you're good to go. So, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to hold it. But once you're done, this is why, same thing with you. Bro, you're not thinking about that all day? Yeah. Bro, I grab pots one time a day. That's maybe. True. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Just like you whatever, and you go roll. You don't think about that thing. So you're like, whatever.
That's a good point.
Even though every single encounter with it, it's like that little pain in the ass, And it's a spectrum. Certain things are, play a bigger role in your day for sure. But that's what I was feeling. I was like, whatever. And then I literally forget about it. Then one day I was just like, man, for what? I don't even know why I did it. But I was like, all right. And I went and grabbed another screw, took out the old one, made another hole.
Took you 3 minutes.
Yeah, literally like 3 minutes. And just like you, every time I go to get the pots out, I'm like, ooh, this is so luxurious. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if it saved me time necessarily, but effort. I'll tell you, mental energy. But it's like we have this mental like momentum. That's why. Because we're like, hey, if I'm going to grab some pots or you're going to go roll jujitsu, you're thinking about training. Yep. You're not thinking about putting together a shelving
and then
unit.
You get done rolling, and I get in there, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go.
It's time to go home.
Get home, get food, start working, whatever.
Exactly right. You don't want to stop that momentum and then put together a IKEA shelving unit. Bruh, it's not time for that right now. Some other time. But the thing is, it never works like that. You never wake up and be like, you know what, today I'm gonna put together that shelving. The thing that inconvenienced you for like 1 minute.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to kind of, like how you said, you got to consciously check yourself.
Yeah. Understanding and appreciating the improvement in your life is important.
It's important. Here's some. I thought of 3 while you're explaining 3 that
3 what?
Other scenarios.
Oh gosh, this is like a lifestyle for you.
Yes, sir.
Dave, do you even have one scenario, or are you just on it?
No, I'm thinking more generically on what I'm willing to procrastinate about and what I'm not.
Okay.
And I guess partially to come to your defense a little bit, if there's something that needs to get done that impacts like the life of my wife specifically, and to a large degree my kids, and I try to balance that a little bit, that stuff just gets done. It just gets done. And I don't do it because I like think I'm a great husband or a great dad, but I have this sense of like, dude, I got to get that thing done. If it's something that solely benefits me, and I can't really draw the connection, I will sit on things.
Just
like
suck it
as
up.
super random as it sounds, I have a towel bar in the bathroom of the office that I use that has been off the hook of the wall, and the towel just sits on my counter, the bathroom counter.
Yeah.
My daughter came in like 4 days ago. The towel bar had pulled off from the hinge of the wall, and she came into my office. I was working. I wasn't like with a client, but I was working. And she's like, hey, this thing broke. And I'm like, I went downstairs, got the screwdriver, got the drill, got the new anchors. And like, 17 minutes later, or whatever, 5 minutes later, my thing is still just sitting on my kitchen or my bathroom counter. I don't know when I'm going to do it, even though I should.
Yeah.
So I rationalize it by going, oh, it doesn't help anybody else. I'm not going to do it.
So you could rationalize your where it's like, it's just for me, it's not really putting me out much, right? But it's kind of like, what if every time like I saw you, not when we were talking, but when we weren't talking, I'd like jab you in your rib or something. And it's like, hey, like whatever, it doesn't. But if the day I stop jabbing you, bro, you're gonna feel a lot better. I'll tell you that right
100%.
now, bro. It's true. Throwing things away. A lot of people procrastinate because maybe you got to cut it up, you got to break it down. It's it's a 5-minute job. To throw this thing away, but once you throw it away, it'll be gone. Then you can park.
What kind of things are you hoarding, by the way?
Stuff in the garage, which brings me to number 2. So, like a lot of times, you buy something or
Dude,
something old.
But while I'm up here, just put myself on report. That is a little excerpt of what we are doing on the Jocko Underground podcast. So if you want to continue to listen, go to jockounderground.com and subscribe. And we're doing this to mitigate our reliance on external platforms so we are not subject to their control. And we're doing it so we can give you more control, more interaction, more direct connections, better communications with us, strengthen this legion of troopers that are in the game with us. So thank you. It's jockounderground.com. It costs $8.18 a month. And if you can't afford to support us, we can still support you. Just email assistance@jockounderground.com and we'll get you taken care of. Until then, we will see you mobilized underground.